Today we return to the grottoes to look at a few more caves. The first cave that we went to was cave number 11, and it was built during the 9th century.
As we came in, there was a statue of a Buddha in the center and was surrounded by murals that basically showed him in his nirvana, and then all the other Buddhas that were around him and what they were doing with their lives in his nirvana.
Looking at the cave, I didn't consider it as anything vibrant or complex enough for me to really want to walk up and take a really close look at. The colors used were earth tones, greens and earth red and burnt umber. I approached the murals and had a chance to sketch a few of them though, and that's when I was pulled into them. The line drawings were so beautiful and so sensitive, just flowed without even having tonal differences or colors. The flow of just the line alone was interesting. I was happy copying them for a good 20 minutes and probably could have stayed for a couple more hours.
These are the Apsaras, the flying angels that we've seen so much of in town and the artwork that we've seen around Dunhuang and in this area.
The second cave that we came to today was cave number 61, and I had a particular interest in this cave because in the back of the cave was actually a very large map. The significance of that map is that at the time in the 10th century when this was created, portions of this map showed everything from people in everyday parts of their life to locations of hotels and different cities along the way and mountain peaks. There was actually an archaeologist that came through to kind of look at the map and verify all these things, and today it's actually a very accurate map.
The most shocking thing about walking into this cave was the altar was bare. There were no statues at all left. Supposedly there was a Buddha sitting on a lion in the center. Apparently they were taken by Muslims.
The third cave we came to was actually a very small cave, and we weren't able to enter this cave. It's a 5th century cave, and it's actually the oldest cave that we were able to see. We weren't able to enter it because there was a woman inside doing restoration. She was actually measuring how many inches tall they were and then coming back to graph paper and doing a drawing of them.
The next cave we visited was cave 158. This was built during the 8th century, which was during the Tang Dynasty.
As you walk in, you see this tremendous statue of a reclining Buddha. This particular cave actually is known for its murals and paintings as being the best paintings in Mogao. The reclining Buddha is actually a symbol of Buddha's death.
There was 2 levels of mourners.
The first row of figures above the reclining Buddha were the Arhat. They were the ones that were so sad about his dying because they hadn't achieved enlightenment yet. The second row was the Bodhisattva. They were smiling because they understood what this meant, that Buddha had died and he was going to be going to his nirvana.
I think one of the reasons why people at the time considered the paintings on the wall to be so skillfully rendered is because they seemed to be the first images of figures that had emotion. All their faces were just so exaggerated in the way that they were showing their grief. I was really excited to see the reclining Buddha because Mrs. He, the paper cut artist, based one of her pieces on that particular cave. So it was really wonderful to see the inspiration for the piece that she made. The next cave that we ventured to, and I say venture because we ended up climbing like crazy amount of flights of stairs. It was 196 and it was built during the 9th century.
There was actually a building built around the entrance, and the wood that is there right now is the original wood from the 9th century.
The most interesting thing to me about this cave was the graffiti. And we're not talking graffiti like as in tags, the modern day graffiti. This graffiti is hundreds of years old, and it marks just the time that exists between when it was made and today. There was a bit of restoration going on in the cave at the time, and I keep saying restoration, but what I mean to say is copying. There was an artist who was literally like measuring the exact differences between one space to another and attempting to copy every figure on the wall.
I was able to do a sketch in this cave of this statue called the Heavenly King, and he was a warrior and a guard of Buddha,
whose job was to put down demons. I wanted to sketch him because he had such an animated face, and it was very, very strange sculpture to me. It looked almost out of place at the Mogao Caves. The next cave that we entered was cave 146, built during the 10th century.
In entering this cave, there's this giant mural on the wall. There are statues in the front, but the mural is very interesting in the back.
On this left-hand side it shows Buddha, and he's warring with Satan, who's on the other side of the mural on the right-hand side of the cave. On this side of the mural on the back of the cave, it portrays Satan and different devils that Buddha is actually battling with.
What really interested me about this cave was the folk art. Considering the fact that folk art at the time was, and even still today actually, was considered less skilled work, I thought it was really amazing to see the differences in each of the sculptures with the different skin color and facial expressions and costumes.
One other interesting thing that I saw when we entered this cave was something that I hadn't seen in any of the other caves, and it was a black tablet that had a great deal of writing on it. The writing was an explanation about Mogao and how the Mogao caves got their name. The explanation on this tablet is the word Mo means sand and Gao means high.
The last cave we got to see today was cave 85, and it was built in the 9th century. There's restoration going on in it right now.
The Getty Museum is in cooperation with the Dunhuang Art Academy in this restoration.
The people who are right now attempting to restore it, they're making this somewhat of a model for future restoration of cave art.
It was really great to actually go into this cave and see what they were doing, because there was scaffolding up and the walls weren't protected by glass, so you could actually get up close and really see what was going on in the artwork.
When you look at the faces and the headdresses and the clothing and the scarves, there's such an incredible attention to detail in all of these murals. It's pretty amazing.
It was very exciting to see the delicate line drawings underneath the painting, and I can't seem to express that enough, but I forgot how beautiful line can be until I got to China. Tomorrow's our last day, and I can't believe it went by so fast. But yet I feel like I've been transported into a whole different world. And I have history here now, which is really bizarre.